Should a guy bring a girl flowers on the first date, Andrew?
I mean, I guess if he wants to. I don't really see, again, though, I don't really see why women in modernity deserve any type of chivalry. I still don't understand that. I still haven't heard a compelling argument for the idea that for some reason you deserve equality and status. It's like, that's not how that works. So I don't think so. I don't think the men should probably bring women anything on a first date, to be honest with you. I think it's a bad idea.
I'm with Michaela on this. I don't believe
Is that how you got your wife? By not giving her flowers?
Yeah.
W's in the chat for Andrew. And he's the only one here who's married.
Yeah.
Boom. How about that?
Yeah.
How about them apples?
Maybe if you didn't want flowers, you'd be married.
I'm
shit.
21, so I would rather not be married right now, thank you.
I mean, it's...
Well, I mean, if you keep demanding flowers, it's going to be 41.
I never
and then
demanded
you have to have
anything.
cats.
I've never demanded anything. I've just had very sweet boyfriends.
What
that
are
were very
your cat's
kind.
names going to be anyway? Fluffy? You're going to have one named Fluffy?
I don't really think it's smart to have a cat on a boat.
Are you gonna give, Do you think you're going to give them people names? Like Chuck? You're going to call it like Chuck and Fred? You're going to give your cat people names? You're going to be people named cats?
That's a very great question. Please ask me in 5 years when I'm 26 and apparently washed up.
20? Who said 26? What are you talking about?
You're saying that because I'm 21 and not married, that's, me thinking that flowers are sweet are the reason for that. That's idiotic. That does not make any sense. I'm not saying I demand flowers. I'm saying that a gentleman that brings me flowers is very sweet.
I know a perfectly good joke can hurt your feelings for no particularly good reason, even though I'm clearly kidding. But perhaps you can take a breath and actually respond to my argument instead. So here's my actual position. My actual position is that chivalry gives women additional status that men do not receive. Therefore, if women want egalitarianism or equality, they don't deserve additional status. You see?
And
That's
what do
my
you
actual
mean by
position.
status? I understand what you're saying. I want to understand it further. So what do you mean by status?
Okay, well, men get on the lifeboats last. Men are expected to protect women. Men are expected to not hit women back. Men are expected to go to frontline warfare and combat in a draft. Women are not. The list is endless, in fact, of the statuses in which women get in society that men do not, due to this idea of chivalry, which is hundreds of years old now, which is carried over when women were given this special status in society because men had the authority. Now that men do not have that authority and women are equal, why do women deserve this chivalric status? Why do they deserve it? I don't see why they do.
So you believe that kind gestures like flowers are comparable to front lines in the war?
Can you just repeat back what I said so I know that you got it?
I heard what you said. What you were saying is that...
Then repeat it back to me so that I know then I know you understand what I'm saying.
Okay, that's
What's my
condescending.
actual position on this?
How I understood it, which you can correct me if I'm wrong in my understanding, was that you see the fact that, men have a lower position in society compared to women, right? When it comes to the fact that women are not going to be drafted, that men have other, issues that they have to deal with that women are kind of put back for. Women do not, have to be expected to let their man first get on the lifeboat if there's, a ship that's sinking. I understand what you're saying, but I don't understand how a kind action of somebody giving you flowers is comparable to the issues that men have to go through on a day-to-day basis.
So then I guess men are kinder than women if you expect that men then will bring you flowers and you won't bring them flowers.
I don't expect it. I do think that is, fair to say that it is a kind gentleman to bring you flowers. I can agree with you.
That it would be a kind woman who brought
and
the
I have
gentleman
also
the flowers?
I've also brought my boyfriend flowers. There's no argument
shouldn't you guys
there.
be competing over who's kinder then? And on the first date, shouldn't the woman be bringing the man flowers to show how kind she is?
That's fair. I have done that on a first date. It's a respect thing. It's showing
how many
respect
times
to
on the first date have you brought flowers versus you have flowers brought to you?
Okay, well,
So you're just meaner than all the men you date, aren't you? Just say, Andrew, by my own logic, I'm meaner than all of the men I date because I don't bring them flowers and they bring me flowers.
There's different ways to show affection rather than just gifts. You can show affection through acts of service, whether that's, cooking them a meal, whether that's, setting up the date itself, whether that's, them teaching you a new skill, you teaching them a new skill. I've taken people on dates where I've taught them how to ride motorcycles or to sail or...
Yeah, but that sounds like an exchange. I thought you were talking about acts of kindness. So if you're talking about acts of kindness and not an exchange, and you say it's a very kind thing for people to show up and give me flowers, well, would it be, and it's a very kind thing if you show up and give them flowers, then why is it that more men are being more kind to you than you are to them? Can you explain that to me?
Why is it a competition between who's kinder? Why isn't it just
You're the one who made it a
courting?
competition because you said it's an act of kindness and gentlemanly men should do it. Okay,
I was saying
that's true.
I was saying that it was kind when men do this. You know, when men do give flowers, that is an act of generosity. That is an act of generosity.
And more men have brought you flowers than you've brought men flowers. So therefore, by that logic, men are way kinder to you than you are to men. Yeah?
So do I have to
Can you answer my question? Can you answer my question?
I'm answering.
By your logic, if it's kind to bring flowers, and more men bring you flowers than you bring men flowers, then men are kinder to you than you're kind to men. Is that correct or not correct?
It's flawed logic.
Oh, okay. How?
Because it's not whether or not, you know, I brought them flowers or they brought me flowers. It's them doing something that is kind towards me, right? Which, yes, in that scenario, that would be them being kinder on the first date. However, I have not dated that many men, and I have not, you know, exchanged flowers with that many men. That's not like something, it's a Tuesday, I'm going to go on a date so I can get flowers. Like, that is an evil intention to just use men for a purpose like that. Yes, have men given me more flowers than I've given them? Sure. Does that mean that I am cruel because I didn't bring flowers?
I don't know what that has to do with anything. You're just utilizing your metric. I'm not saying you're an unkind person.
I don't understand
I'm just saying
why
that
this is
men are
worthy of a
really kinder to
conversation.
you. I'm not saying you're an unkind person. I'm not saying you're mean. I'm not saying you're cruel. I'm not saying any of those things. I'm just saying that if it is the case that flowers equals kindness and kind act, and more men bring you flowers than you bring them,
Then they
more
started
men
with
are
the
acting
kinder
kindly
act.
towards you than you're acting towards them. It's very simple.
That I can agree with. They were kinder to me in the beginning. That is fair. That is a fair assessment. Now, does that mean that, you know, what you're saying is that you started with, you know, I am crueler to men than men are to me, that men are kinder to me than I am to them. That's not a fair assumption, you know, but are you saying that they did a kinder gesture to me on a
what I'm
first date?
saying is very simple, is that if you demand these additional statuses in society, like men have the chivalry.
I don't demand additional...
Gentlemanly men open my car door. Gentlemanly men will bring me flowers.
Sir,
gentlemanly men will pay for the first date.
Sir, with respect...
Hold on. You got to let him finish, then you can respond.
And then I'll let you talk, I promise. Just relax. Okay, gentlemanly men will do all of these things for me, right? That's very nice of them to do all those things for you. What are you doing for them? Well, you're not doing anything because, well, that's what gentlemanly men do. So you're putting yourself at a status, you're giving yourself additional status that men don't have. And what I'm saying is like, why the fuck should they do that? That sounds really stupid. If women are indeed equal to men, why waste their time? Makes no sense.
That's fair, and that is not how I am. You know, if men are doing all these things, right, I know how to fix... I live on a sailboat, right? So I've learned how to fix my boat. I've created this future for my future partner where we can travel around the world and I will be able to fix the engine, which I just did last week. I had to fix my heat exchanger. I can do my own septic, my plumbing. I can do my own woodworking. I have fixed many things on my boat and I'm continuing to learn those skills so that it is an equal partnership. Now you're saying men are expected to do all these things. I'm not expecting a man to do all these things and I just sit back and act like some helpless damsel in distress.
You can do your own woodworking?
Yes, I can. I actually am a woodworker.
Yeah, do you use a wood lathe?
No, I do not use wood lathe.
How do you don't use a wood lathe? Do you use a router?
No, I do not. I have a sailboat.
You don't use a router? What do you use to do woodworking?
I use a hand saw or a circular saw. I use...
How are you working the wood
with a
circular saw? What are you talking about? That's not woodworking. That's wood cutting.
Okay.
That's not woodworking. Do you know what woodworking is?
Yes, I do. I do woodworking on a
it?
sailboat. It's different. It's okay. I don't know what you want from me. You just want to argue.
I'm just very confused. I thought you were a woodworker.
No,
I don't
that's
know what
not my
tools you're using to
profession,
work
but it
wood.
is something that I'm learning how to do in order to take care of my sailboat, which I can then provide that lifestyle for my partner. So just because I don't...
What?
Okay. I've had to fix multiple things on my boat, right? Like I had to create a table, okay? So I had to learn how to take the wood and sand it to the right shape, right? I had to learn how to cut things. I had to use different saws. I had to use, different, like linseed oil, right, to protect it. I've had to use different, I've had to learn how to work with vinyl. Yeah, basic woodworking is my knowledge so far. I never said I was an expert. I'm saying I'm learning.
Yeah, I mean, that's not even basic woodworking. It's just basic maintenance. But yeah, fair enough. I'm just saying, I'm just curious. Like, I'm just asking, when you say I do woodworking, how you do woodworking? What do you do woodworking with? I'm just curious, that's all.
Okay, yeah, and I'm learning still. It's not like I'm a carpenter, like I'm not that level. I'm in marketing. Like, I'm learning how to do these things on my own. Now, if you ask me about septic, I can tell you a lot because I had to fix mine last month. But it's not like I'm a professional. So do I expect men to do everything for me? No. I'm learning how to take care of myself, and so that I can also help my partner understand and learn and take care of these things as well. I don't expect men to save me. I do appreciate a man who is a gentleman, but that doesn't mean that I am expecting every man to care for me like a child, and
it sounds like you agree with me then, that there's no good reason for men to give women additional
flowers
status.
is a gesture of kindness. That's a gesture of respect. It's not an issue of
you can't show people respect unless you open their door and give them flowers.
I never said that I expect every man to open my door.
Isn't it a bigger sign of respect to treat you exactly as an equal? Wouldn't that be the biggest sign of respect?
I do agree with that, and so, like I said, I've given men flowers.
Let's get rid of this evil status of toxic femininity.
That's
where
fair.
They demand additional status in society that they don't deserve, when we should be treating them like the equals they demand we treat them.
Okay, so what is your definition of toxic femininity? What do you mean by that? What is,
a demand for additional statuses based on old chivalric codes that are undeserved when you at the same time demand equality. So I would say toxic femininity is the demand of Schrodinger's feminists who claim, here's a Schrodinger's feminist: you are both the biggest victim on planet Earth, while at the same time the most badass woman on planet Earth. And depending on what circumstance you're in, you'll use either one of those. Either you're super oppressed or you're badass. That's Schrodinger's feminist.
That's fair.
What toxic femininity is just saying, look, if you're demanding additional statuses in society while you're demanding equality in society, then you're not demanding equality in society. You're demanding status.
I agree with that, and back to your original point of the flowers, I said that it was a kind gesture. I've also given men flowers. So I do think that, there are certain things that are conflicting when it comes to, feminism and, wanting to be treated higher than rather than equal, because feminism originally was for equality. I do agree with you there, and that's not a point that I'm arguing with you on. Obviously, like I believe femininity and feminism, in the olden day sense, is better than what it's turned into. I believe that, if
it wasn't, it was even worse. It was even worse.
Okay.
Women, imagine this, like, can you imagine that women, and this is the truth, women had serious societal status, and now they're told to compete with men. It's fucking stupid. It's like, it's the dumbest thing ever. They had real societal status, and they took all that status away from themselves so that they could be equal to men who they can't be equal with. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
What is status if not freedom? Why would you trade status for freedom? I believe that you should want to be able to be your own person. Now, the time that
freedom
you're talking
to do what?
Freedom to be an individual. In the olden days, you had to be tied to a man. You had to be tied to a husband. Now, is that me saying, oh, I hate men? No. I plan on having a husband sometime. Okay.
There's no escaping being tied to men. There's no escaping that. Like, everything, the whole building you're in, the streets you walk on, the cars you drive, everything that you do is tied to men. There's no escape.
Right,
from that.
and there should be, a relationship that is equal between man and woman. I'm not saying that you should cut out men. I'm not saying that women should be lower or higher. I'm saying that there should be an equal level between men and women. Men and women have different places in society that they are dominant in. Yes, I agree,
but why should they be equal?
Why should they be equal? Because we are both human beings. Because we both have human rights.
Equality?
That is like saying that you should treat one race different than the other. You shouldn't treat a man versus a woman different. Because you're treating.
Hang on, back up.
Okay.
You wouldn't be treating one race differently than another, right? You'd be treating one sex differently than the other. The reason because you do agree with me that there's different races who are the same sex, who are women and men.
So
if men still had authority in society, right? I'm sorry to cut you off in the middle of your long diatribe. Just want to clarify. If men have status or have authority in society and women have status in society, that's fine. But if you want to trade that for equality, you can't bitch when you get it. That's my point.
What is the difference between, treating somebody differently based on their race versus based on their gender? There should not be a difference. We are all human beings, so you should treat us equal based on that. That in of itself is the basis of humanity.
It's just an assertion. We don't treat each other equally at all. Men don't treat each other equally even slightly. We compete with each other every single day, 7 days a week. Every single day of the year, men are in competition.
And I have
hang on. Can I respond to what you just said?
Yes, sir.
If not, then make sure that you give me the high sign and say I'm not done yet, and I'll be quiet. So if you want to continue, go ahead and finish, and then I'll respond. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that maybe my viewpoint isn't how society is actually based, but it's a utopian viewpoint. I believe that people should be treated equal, not based on their gender, not based on their race, not based on anything else besides that they are a human being. So you may speak now. That was all I wanted to say.
And that's fine to treat people equally if that's what your value is, okay? But then you can't ask for additional statuses because that wouldn't be equal. That's the point. That's the purpose. And the thing is that women do ask for additional statuses. So here would be true equality. You don't lower the training standards for police officers because they're women. You don't lower the training standards for soldiers because they're women. You don't lower the standards for flight school. You don't lower the standards for any of these various things that men are clearly much better at than women because they're women. That would be true equality. When you come back to me and give me that, then I'll believe that women don't want additional statuses in society. But right now, it sure seems like they do.
I believe that's fair. And, my viewpoint might not be the same as every other woman in society, but I do think that we should be treated equally.
Do you know what that would actually entail?
I do understand what that actually would entail. Yes, sir.
You would?
Yes, sir. I
So,
do
like, the
understand.
draft?
Do you think that if a woman smacks a guy, that he should turn around and belt her across the mouth?
Okay, so smacking and belting is not the same, but I do
I know, but
there
if
is
a man
a difference
smacks
in
me,
strength.
it's okay for me to belt him, right?
There is a difference in strength between the average man and the average woman. That is not something that is disagreeable based on scientific evidence. I'm not going to argue with that. Now, I do think that, if you are in this utopian society where you are treating everyone equally, then that would be a situation that would occur. Now, is that equality? No, because the man might be stronger than the woman.
No, that's still equality. Listen, if weaker men attack stronger men, which happens all the time, nobody bats an eye if the stronger man beats up the weaker man. So how is it that you can logically say, because women are weaker, they then deserve the privilege of being able to hit men without men hitting them back? If the woman's hitting him, hang on. If the woman's hitting him at full strength, for instance, and he hits her back at full strength, that would be equality.
I mean, I don't condone violence like that, domestic or whatever the reason is.
That's nice. It has nothing to do with the
but I
actual
understand
point,
what you're
though.
saying, and I actually, I do think that would be, considered equality in that sense. Now, do I think that it's okay to hit a woman? Do I think that you should go around smacking women? No. But, if you're saying, okay, a woman is being aggressive towards a man and then a man is aggressive back, that would be considered equal. Is it equal? No. There is a difference in strength there, and
There's
that's
a difference in strength between every human being on planet Earth.
That's true.
So no matter what, there's always going to be somebody in the fight who's stronger than the other person. We don't say that you can't defend yourself because the other person is weaker. So the thing is like, if you really want equality and you want to know what that entails that women have to get screamed at by their bosses, just like men do, and they can't complain about it and whine and cry about it. It means that they're going to have to deal with coarse jokes and things like this, just like men do, and they can't cry about it, they can't whine about it. It means that they actually get treated like equals. It means that when women put their hands all over men and nobody bats an eyelash, like at a party or something like this, and nobody says that that's sexual battery, that men need to begin to say that it is, because that's what women say. So the thing is like, true equality, I don't even think that women want it. I don't believe you. I literally don't believe that women actually want it. I don't even think they know what the entailment of it is.
You don't have to believe me. I do think it's wrong for a woman to sexually harass a man, just as it's wrong for a man to sexually harass a woman, just as it's wrong for a man to hit a woman and a woman to hit a man. I don't believe that violence of any source is okay. I don't think that, assaulting anyone is okay. I don't care what your gender is or what you believe. That it's not all right.
Are you going to start advocating that women get drafted?
It's funny because I was planning on signing up for the military after college.
That's not what I asked.
And you got to answer the question, though.
Yes.
Okay.
If that's equality,
You're going to
yes.
start, so I can expect you in protest soon, demanding that women be drafted.
I'm not the type of person to protest, but
Are you going to demand that men also have a say over abortion? And that they're also allowed to have a say in what happens with their baby?
I am Christian, so I don't really believe that abortion is a right that somebody should have. So yes, I do think that if it's a male and a female's, it's sperm and egg, right? That does give the man some sort
You're
of...
a Christian but believe in equality? That's a patristic faith. It's patriarchal.
Okay.
Well, there's no okay. I mean, I'm sorry. Is God the father or the mother?
God
Is God the father or the mother?
God, yes, God is Father, right?
And
You
did Jesus Christ incarnate as a woman or a man?
as a man.
He incarnated as a man, and are priests referred to as father, and are women allowed to be priests?
So that's a different, strain. I do believe that women can be in a place of, they can hold a place in a religion. So that's
So
also
clergy
the
can
difference.
represent the Christ head, even though the Christ head incarnated as a man. That makes sense to you?
I think that God speaks through both men and women.
Here, hold on. But can just help move things along a little bit? Can women be clergy? And what's your
I
denomination?
don't follow that. Yeah, I'm non-denominational. I just follow the Bible. So I don't think that pertains to me. I'm not qualified enough to answer that question.
Okay.
That's not my denomination.
Okay, well, I just ask you one quick one then.
Go ahead.
So we have God the Father, we have Jesus Christ who was incarnate. Was there can you point to me to a female apostle? What was her name?
I mean, there were people that followed Jesus that were women. There's many signs of that in the Bible. So
What was the apostle's name?
There was Mary.
Mary.
What?
She went Esther.
Yep, Esther. Yeah.
Esther.
Okay. Yeah, have you seen The Chosen? There's plenty of women. That's biblically accurate as well as they, could do. So there are plenty of women referenced in the Bible that did follow Jesus, that did, drop everything and follow him. And that's one of the things about Jesus, is that he was fair to both men and women. He allowed both to follow him, and that was something that really, really pissed off, the Jewish rabbis, was the fact that he did treat women well in comparison to what they were treated as. So, I mean, he allowed a woman who had multiple husbands to follow him. So, and to give you some context, I wasn't raised Christian.
You mean
actually.
the woman that he said to go and sin no more?
Yes, at the fountain, or at the well. Sorry, I became Christian a year ago. I wasn't raised with Christianity, so I don't want to miss.
I just want to make sure I got this right, though, so we have it on record that you think that Mary and Esther were apostles.
I'm not saying that they were apostles, right? There's the 12 apostles, which were men. I understand that, but I am saying they're followers of Christ. Okay, that was what I was saying.
Yeah. So that's not what was my question, though?
I understand what your question was. You asked if there were any females that were apostles, and there were not.
Apostles, yeah.
But that does not mean that God does not speak to women or speak through women as well.
And so in Paul, when Paul says that women are not allowed to teach in church, he was just lying.
There's a few things in the Bible that I'm still coming to grasp and that I don't fully understand, so I cannot give you my best answer on that, because again, I've only been Christian for a year, and it's something that I've been having to go through. I've been reading the Bible, and so no, I can't answer your question with all honesty and with something backing that when I myself am a new
Then why
Christian.
did you laugh when I said that Christianity was a patristic and patriarchal faith? I don't get that. You laughed at it, and I'm like,
Because
why
of
are you
the fact
laughing?
that
It's a patriarchal faith. It always has been. It's from the Father.
It's the fact that Jesus was kind to both men and women. I'm not saying
I'm not
that.
talking about being kind. Patriarchs are very kind. What's wrong with is I'm a patriarch, therefore I'm mean? Like, is that the entailment of patriarchy?
Okay.
Is that they're just like mean to women?
He treated women with respect, right? There were women who followed him that had a very vital role within his discipleship. And that's what I'm saying there. Now, I might not completely understand what you're asking me then, if you want to re-clarify the question.
You ready? So in Christianity, men have the authority. Yeah?
What if they're the apostles?
No, they don't have the authority.
Because God needed to lead them because they didn't have their own discernment.
What's that?
When I read Corinthians, and I think Paul's in that. What I read
Yes,
is
that is
not.
correct.
It said don't marry. That you're better off on your own is what I got out of it. But that maybe the men are the apostles because they need more help from God. Like,
Hold on, Andrew,
I don't
before
know.
I have you address that, we didn't get an answer to his question.
What was his question again?
Well, he made this, well, I don't know if it was, he made a statement is that Christianity, it's patriarchal. Agree or disagree?
Define patriarchal.
Go ahead,
From
Andrew.
the Father.
It is God is the Father, so yes, I would agree with you there.
It's patriarchal. It's from the Father. From the Father, meaning the Father has the ultimate authority.
I
And then we
do,
worship Jesus Christ, who is the ultimate authority, right? And so the Christ head, the teacher, the person who is leading your church, this person is a representation of Christ on earth. That's why you can't have a woman be a priest or a pastor or whatever it is that you consider clergy to be. So the thing is that ultimately the view of egalitarianism is not compatible with the view of Christianity. It can't be.
Are you
It's
Christian?
never going to be. Yes.
Are you a Christian?
Yeah.
Okay, so then, I mean, genuinely, like from my heart, could you educate me on this topic then? Because like I said,
I
I'm a
can.
new
We can't
Christian.
bog the entire podcast with it
Okay,
down,
so then
but
could you just
can
give me a
definitely
little
reach
bit?
out and I can move you over to resources that can help you and assist you in this for sure, because you've been sold a hell of a bill of goods.
Can you give me just a summary of what you believe, when it comes to the patriarchal
Yeah, I'll do
structure
it super
of...
quick so that Brian can move the show on, right?
Okay, thank you.
Because we've been bogged down here. So, very quickly, God, He's the Father, okay? And you believe in the Trinity, I take it? Father, Son, Holy Ghost, all
Yes,
that stuff,
sir.
right? Okay, great. So Jesus Christ, He's one part of the Godhead. Well, not part, but He's one person of the Godhead. Then the Father, one person of the Godhead. When you, the worshiper, you're worshiping Jesus Christ, you're actually worshiping God, right? God, the representation of God on earth, in this case Jesus Christ, the Christ head is the priest. In a marriage, this is literally, this is how it's stated in marriage.
Right.
The husband is the representation of the Christ head, and the woman, the body of Christ. The man has ultimate authority in the relationship, has to be that way. That is under the divine authority which Christians believe.